The starship glided through the void like a phantom. Its hull was engineered to drink in light, rather than cast it back, rendering the vessel all but invisible against the obsidian tapestry of deep space. Within the ship's command chamber, Velcross stood upon the elevated platform, his 3 eyes gleaming with quiet satisfaction. After 3 long months of meticulous travel, they had finally penetrated human-controlled territory. The Kalair were acknowledged masters of concealment. For more than 10 millennia, their civilization had refined the delicate art of observation without detection. Their bodies possess a natural ability to blend seamlessly into any environment, a genetic inheritance from ancestors who had stalked prey through the thick forests of their homeworld. When the Kalair reached the stars, they brought this evolutionary advantage with them, constructing vessels capable of evading any sensor array, any visual scan, any detection protocol known throughout the galaxy. Velcross traced his fingers across the smooth interface panel before him. The ship bore the name Whisper of Silence, and it lived up to that designation perfectly. It produced no detectable emissions, left no gravitational wake, and existed in a quantum state, somewhere between solid matter and shadow. The Dominion High Command had dispatched him on this mission with unambiguous objectives: learn everything possible about humanity. These peculiar beings had emerged onto galactic stage a mere 3 centuries ago, spreading from their modest blue world like organisms from a disturbed colony. The ruling caste demanded to know whether these newcomers pose a legitimate threat. Status report, Velcross commanded, his voice a measured hiss. Captain Thelrose turned from her monitoring station, her scaled features composed and professional. We have successfully penetrated the first tier of human security perimeters. No defensive response detected. Their sensor sweeps passed directly through our position without registering our presence. A current of satisfaction rippled through the assembled crew. 20 Kalair occupied their designated stations, each one a trained specialist in surveillance operations and intelligence acquisition. They had spent years preparing for this assignment, immersing themselves in human linguistics, human engineering principles, and human behavioral patterns. The Dominion never initiated action without comprehensive knowledge, and knowledge demanded observation from the shadows. Advance toward the fleet formation, Velcross ordered. I want close-range observation of these humans. The ship drifted forward with deliberate precision, threading between the planets of the Proxima Centauri system. Ahead of them, the human Third Fleet conducted training exercises in formation. Velcross counted 53 vessels, ranging from compact patrol craft to massive capital ships bristling with weapons. The largest vessel, bearing the designation USS Indomitable, held position at the center of the formation like a queen bee surrounded by devoted workers. The humans had painted their ships in stark gray and white, colors that seemed remarkably foolish to Velcross. Why broadcast your position across the void? Why not embrace concealment as the fundamental principle of survival? But then again, these were juvenile species, barely emerged from their cradle world. They likely lacked understanding of the sophisticated arts of stealth warfare. Recording all available data, announced Sector, the primary intelligence officer. I am capturing their communication frequencies, weapon energy signatures, and power generation outputs. Their technology registers as primitive by our standards, though functional within its limitations. They employ basic fusion propulsion systems and kinetic projectile weapons. No stealth capabilities whatsoever have been detected. Velcross permitted himself a subtle smile. The Dominion leadership had been justified in their concerns, but perhaps they had overestimated the threat level. These humans appear to be children experimenting with dangerous toys, not the formidable adversaries some analysts had feared. Nevertheless, he would maintain thoroughness. The Dominion had endured for countless generations precisely because they never underestimated potential rivals. Navigate us between those 2 battleships, he instructed, indicating a gap in the human formation. I want to position ourselves at the exact center of their fleet configuration. Thelrose hesitated momentarily. Hierarch, are you certain that's prudent? That proximity level carries significant risk. Should they detect us? They will not detect us, Velcross interrupted with confidence. We penetrated their security perimeter without triggering a single alert. Their sense of technology lags decade behind ours. We could attach ourselves to their flagship's hull, and they would remain completely ignorant of our presence. The whisper of silence advanced steadily, slipping between the two human battleships with mere meters of clearance on either side. Velcross studied the massive human vessels through the view screen, analyzing their construction philosophy. They were built for durability and raw power, with thick armor plating and formidable weapon arrays. The humans clearly favored direct confrontation over tactical subtlety. We have achieved interior position within their formation, Thelrose reported. Distance to the flagship, 15,000 meters. Still no indication of detection. Excellent, Velcross said, activating the deep scanning systems. Invisible beams of penetrating energy lanced out, passing through the human ship's hulls and mapping their internal structures. He could observe the humans moving through their corridors, occupying their duty stations, consuming meals in their communal spaces. They remained utterly oblivious to the scrutiny. Over the subsequent 6 hours, the collier recorded exhaustive data. They intercepted and analyzed tactical communications, noting the command style and interaction patterns between human officers. They examined fleet formation protocols, searching for exploitable weaknesses in their positioning doctrine. They measured the energy output signatures of every weapon system, calculating effective range and destructive potential. They even captured personal communications between crew members, gathering insights into human culture and psychological profiles. Sector compiled the intelligence into organized databases. The humans demonstrate a marked preference for aggressive tactical approaches, he reported. Their formations prioritize offensive assault capability rather than defensive positioning. They appear to rely on numerical advantage and concentrated firepower rather than strategic sophistication. Their command architecture is hierarchical yet permits individual initiative at lower levels, which creates both tactical flexibility and potential command chaos. What vulnerabilities have you identified? Velcross inquired. Numerous critical weaknesses, Sector replied. Their reactor containment cores are vulnerable to specific frequency disruption attacks. Their communication systems employ basic encryption that can be easily jammed. Their formation doctrine creates exploitable gaps that a smaller, more maneuverable force could penetrate, and they demonstrate absolutely zero counter-stealth capabilities. They cannot defend against threats they cannot perceive. Velcross felt warm satisfaction spreading through his chest. The mission had exceeded all expectations. The Dominion would be extremely pleased with these results. They now possess detailed intelligence regarding human military capabilities, and the humans remain completely unaware they have been compromised. This exemplified how the collier had always operated, watching from concealment, acquiring secrets, and leveraging that knowledge to maintain strategic advantage over potential threats. Initiate departure protocols, Velcross ordered. We have accomplished our objectives. We will compile our comprehensive report during the return journey. The crew worked with practiced efficiency, organizing their acquired data, and preparing the ship for the extended voyage back to Dominion space. Velcross moved slowly around the command chamber, savoring the satisfaction of a flawlessly executed mission. The humans had been remarkably easy targets. Their security measures were laughable compared to the sophisticated systems employed by older civilizations. He paused at an observation port, gazing out toward the human flagship. Somewhere within that massive vessel, a human admiral occupied a command chair, completely ignorant of the collier presence mere kilometers away. Velcross wondered what that human officer would think upon learning they had been infiltrated so effortlessly. Probably panic. Young species invariably panicked when they realized their vulnerability. Hierarch, Thelrose called out, we are prepared for departure. Setting navigation course to the system's edge. Proceed, Velcross confirmed. Maintain conservative acceleration. No abrupt maneuvers. Continue stealth protocols until we have cleared well beyond human territory. The whisper of silence began withdrawing, retreating from a human fleet with the same careful precision employed during approach. Velcross watched the human ships diminish on the view screen as distance increased. The mission had been absolutely flawless, perfect in every detail. In the intelligence section, Sector smiled as he packaged the final data archives. The ruling caste will celebrate this achievement, he remarked to a colleague. We have penetrated human space, observed their most powerful military formation, and acquired their secrets without them ever knowing we were present. This demonstrates why the Kalair maintained the galaxy's preeminent intelligence service. His colleague nodded agreement. The humans never had a chance. They didn't even realize they were being hunted. Velcross overheard the exchange and allowed himself a moment of pride. Indeed, the humans had been completely unaware. The Kalair had once again proven their superiority in the intelligence domain. As the whisper of silence cleared the inner system and prepared for the hyperspace transition, Velcross contemplated the commendations that would be bestowed upon him, the honors that would be granted to his crew. It never occurred to him that at that precise moment aboard the USS Indomitable, Admiral Sarah Chun was observing his ship on a holographic tactical display, a subtle smile crossing her face as she turned to her intelligence officer and said quietly, "Let them depart. We have them positioned exactly where we want them." Admiral Sarah Chun stood in the command center of the USS Indomitable, her hands clasped behind her back as she studied the holographic display floating before her. A small red marker moved steadily through the blue spheres representing her fleet formation. That marker was a Kalair spy vessel, completely unaware it had been visible to human sensor systems from the instant it entered the star system. "How long have they been conducting surveillance?" she asked. Commander Marcus Webb, her intelligence officer, consulted his workstation. 6 hours and 17 minutes. They performed deep scans on every vessel in the formation. Very thorough methodology. Chin nodded slowly. Webb ranked among the finest intelligence officers in the human fleet. A man who understood that modern warfare had evolved beyond simple firepower comparisons. Space combat now centered on superior information, superior deception, and superior strategic thinking. Have they accepted our planet intelligence? Chin inquired. Webb smiled. Every bit of it, Admiral. They intercepted our stage communications regarding reactor vulnerabilities. They recorded our fabricated tactical doctrines. They even captured the personal messages we planted about crew morale problems. From their perspective, they've acquired all our classified secrets. Good, Chin said, turning to her tactical officer. Status of the actual Third Fleet? Standing by in hyperspace, Admiral. They can transition in on your command. All stealth platforms are positioned. Hunter-killer drones are deployed throughout the system. The Kalair are completely surrounded. They just haven't realized it yet. Chin had been orchestrating this operation for 3 months, ever since her intelligence division detected unusual quantum fluctuations near human territory. The signatures matched reports from other species who had been infiltrated by Kalair operatives. The Dominion maintained a reputation across the galaxy as masters of stealth and surveillance. They had been observing other civilizations for thousands of years, always remaining hidden, always gathering intelligence. But they had committed one critical error. They had assumed human technology was as primitive as it appeared. The reality was far more complex. Humanity had developed quantum entanglement sensors 5 years ago, a breakthrough that rendered traditional stealth technology completely obsolete. These sensors could detect the minute space-time distortions created by any physical object, regardless of how sophisticated its concealment systems were. But humanity had kept this technology classified, deliberately displaying only their conventional sensors to the galaxy while secretly constructing a network of quantum detection systems throughout their territory. When the Kalair entered human space, they had no idea they were illuminating like a beacon on every human monitoring station. Chin had immediately recognized the opportunity. Instead of destroying the spy ship or driving it away, she could convert it into an intelligence asset. She could feed the Kalair disinformation while using their own espionage mission to track them back to their hidden homeworld. More importantly, she could transmit a message to the entire galaxy. Humanity was not an easy target. They're preparing for departure, Webb announced. The spy vessel is moving toward the system's edge. Allow them to leave, Chin said calmly, but confirm our tracking packages are active. 3 weeks earlier, during the Kalair ship's approach vector, Chin had ordered a precision weapon strike that appeared to miss by centimeters. In reality, Human munitions had delivered microscopic nanites onto the alien hull. Tiny machines that would broadcast the ship's location using quantum signals the collier couldn't detect or block. The spy ship had become a homing beacon. Tracking confirmed, Admiral. The nanites are functioning perfectly. We can follow them anywhere in the galaxy. Chen walked to the viewport, gazing out at the stars. She had grown up on Earth in a small town in northern China before joining the military. Her grandmother had told her stories about traditional hunting methods, how patience and preparation mattered more than raw strength. Her grandmother had been a hunter in the mountains, tracking animals through snow and forest. Chen had absorbed those lessons thoroughly. "What are your orders, Admiral?" her tactical officer asked. "We wait 5 minutes after they transition to hyperspace," Chen said. "Then we follow them. Not too close. Maintain exactly 50,000 kilometers separation. I want them to know we're there." "You want them to know?" Webb looked surprised. Chen turned to face him. "Commander, we're not merely tracking them to locate their homeworld. We're teaching them a lesson. They came here believing they were invisible predators stalking blind prey. I want them to understand what it feels like to be hunted." 20 minutes later, the collier ship transitioned to hyperspace. Chun counted down 5 minutes precisely, then issued the order. 4 human warships jumped after them, materializing in hyperspace exactly 50,000 kilometers behind the fleeing spy vessel. "Maintain that distance with precision," Chen ordered. "Don't approach closer. Don't fall back. I want them to look over their shoulder and see us there every single time." The pursuit commenced. Chen didn't need to be aboard one of the pursuing ships. She returned to her quarters and began coordinating the larger operation. While 4 ships followed the collier spy vessel, hundreds of other human ships were moving into position throughout the galaxy. Human intelligence had been studying the collier for years, gathering fragmentary clues about their territory. The tracking data from the spy ship was filling in the remaining gaps. Over the subsequent 3 weeks, Chen reviewed reports from her pursuit force. The collier were attempting every evasion technique in their playbook. They jumped through radiation zones, used gravitational slingshots around black holes, and hid in asteroid fields. But every time they looked back, the human ships remained there, patient, relentless, unchanging in their separation distance. They attempted to self-destruct their vessel, Webb reported during one of their daily briefings. "Our cyber warfare AI prevented it. We've infiltrated their systems completely. They can't even destroy themselves." Chun felt a moment of sympathy for the collier crew. They must be experiencing profound terror. But sympathy didn't alter her mission parameters. The galaxy needed to learn that humanity could not be subjected to espionage with impunity. "They're heading home," Webb continued. "We confirmed the location of Collier Prime. It matches our predictive models. They'll arrive in approximately 48 hours. "Good. Is the main fleet ready?" "Yes, Admiral. 317 ships standing by. We've also positioned assets near 17 different Collier colony worlds. The Dominion is completely surrounded, and they don't even know it yet." Chun pulled up a star chart, studying the web of red indicators marking Collier territories. Humanity had been busy. While the Dominion focused on spying on human fleets, humans have been quietly mapping every Dominion installation, every hidden base, every classified facility. Human intelligence had infiltrated Collier networks, broken their encryption codes, and compromised their security at every level. The spies have been spied upon. When they arrive at their homeworld, we transition in with the full fleet, Chin said. But we don't fire a shot unless they fire first. This is a demonstration, not a massacre. Understood, Admiral. What if they surrender immediately? Then we accept their surrender and dictate terms. And if they choose to fight? Webb was quiet for a moment. Admiral, if they fight, our projections indicate we could disable their entire defense fleet within 3 hours. They have numerical superiority, but we have better positioning, better intelligence, and better technology. It wouldn't be a battle. It would be an execution. Chin nodded slowly. She hoped it wouldn't come to that. She didn't want to annihilate the Collier civilization. She simply wanted them to understand their mistake. 48 hours later, The Collier spy ship entered their home system. Chen was back on the bridge of the Indomitable, which had jumped ahead to join the main fleet. She watched the display as the spy ship raced toward its homeworld, undoubtedly transmitting desperate warnings about the human pursuit. Transition the fleet in, Chen ordered, full formation. I want them to see all of us simultaneously. Space tore open as hundreds of human ships emerged from hyperspace in perfect synchronization. They appeared in a complete sphere around Collier Prime, every angle covered, every escape vector blocked. Chen had positioned her fleet to demonstrate overwhelming force without threatening immediate attack. It was a demonstration of capability, not hostile intent. On the planet below, she knew the Collier were panicking. Their sensors would be registering impossible readings. Their defense fleet would be mobilizing. And somewhere in their government buildings, their leaders would be realizing they had committed a terrible mistake. Chen opened a communication channel broadcasting on all Collier frequencies. She had prepared her statement carefully, working with human linguists to ensure every word would translate correctly into the Collier language. This is Admiral Sarah Chun of the United Earth Space Service. We have come to deliver a message. Captain Thelrose felt her hands trembling as she gripped the control panel. The hyperspace transition should have saved them. It should have left the humans behind, confused and searching in normal space, while the whisper of silence escaped into faster-than-light currents. But when she checked the sensors, her heart sank. For human ships had followed them into hyperspace. They held position exactly 50,000 kilometers behind the whisper of silence, matching velocity, maintaining perfect separation distance. It was impossible. No one could track a vessel through hyperspace. The mathematics didn't support it. The physics didn't allow it. How? Velcross demanded, his voice rising for the first time in Thelrose's memory. How are they following us? Sector worked frantically at his station, running diagnostic after diagnostic. I don't know, Hierarch. Our stealth systems are functioning at optimal levels. We're producing no detectable trail. There's no radiation signature, no gravitational wake, nothing they should be able to track. But they're there. They're definitely there. Thelrose made a decision, executing evasive pattern theta, taking us through the Crimson Nebula. The radiation there will blind any sensors. The whisper of silence altered course, diving into a massive cloud of ionized gas that stretched across several light years. The nebula was lethal, filled with electromagnetic storms that could fry electronics and radiation that could kill unshielded crews within hours. But the Collier ship was engineered to survive such environments. Surely the humans wouldn't follow them into this death trap. They spent 6 hours navigating to the nebula, dodging plasma storms and radiation spikes. When they emerged on the far side, Thelrose allowed herself a moment of hope. She checked the sensors, scanning the space behind them. The 4 human ships were still there, 50,000 kilometers back, unchanged, unharmed. This is madness, Sector whispered. They shouldn't be able to do this. Our technology is 10,000 years old. We've perfected stealth. We've studied every detection method in the galaxy. There's no way they should be tracking us. Velcross stood frozen on the command platform. Thelrose had served under him for 20 years and had never seen him look uncertain. But now his 3 eyes were wide and his scales had turned pale with stress. Try the black hole slingshot, Velcross finally said. The gravitational distortion should break any tracking lock. Thelrose set course for the nearest black hole, a collapsed star that warped space-time around it like a whirlpool. They dove close to the event horizon, using the intense gravity to whip them around and accelerate to extreme velocities. The maneuver was dangerous even for experienced pilots. If they got too close, they would be pulled in and destroyed. But Thelrose executed it perfectly, feeling the ship strain as it bent around the black hole and shot out in a new direction at impossible velocity. For a moment, the sensors showed empty space behind them. Then, like ghosts materializing from nothing, the 4 human ships completed the same maneuver and resumed their position. 50,000 kilometers. Always 50,000 kilometers. They're playing with us, Thelrose said, her voice hollow. They're demonstrating that they can follow us anywhere. This isn't pursuit. This is a lesson. The crew fell silent. Everyone understood what she meant. The humans weren't trying to catch them or destroy them. They were teaching them what it felt like to be hunted. Days turned into weeks. The Whisper of Silence employed every trick in the Collier operational manual. They jumped through asteroid fields, forcing the humans to navigate through millions of tumbling rocks. The human ships followed. They used gravity assist from multiple planets in succession, a maneuver so complex it required perfect timing. The human ships matched them. They even tried hiding in the atmosphere of a gas giant, hoping the dense clouds would mask their signature. The human ships waited in orbit above until the Whisper of Silence had to leave, then resumed their pursuit. Thelrose stopped sleeping. She couldn't. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw those 4 ships on her sensors. Constant as fate, the crew was deteriorating psychologically. Collier psychology wasn't built for this. They were predators, yes, but ambush predators. They hunted from concealment, striking quickly and disappearing. They weren't built to be prey. They weren't designed to be hunted across the galaxy by something that never tired, never gave up, and never let them escape. Sector came to her privately after the 3rd week. His eyes were bloodshot, and his scales had lost their healthy sheen. "Captain," he said quietly, "I've been analyzing the human pursuit patterns. I think I understand what they're doing." "Tell me," Thelrose said, hoping for any insight that might help. "They're tracking us home. They want us to lead them to Collier Prime. Our homeworld location is the most closely guarded secret in the Dominion. We've kept it hidden for 10,000 years. No enemy has ever found it, but we're leading them straight to it." Thelrose felt ice spread through her body. "That's impossible. We would never. We have to go home eventually," Sector said. "We're running low on supplies. Our systems are showing stress from all these extreme maneuvers. And even if we could run forever, where would we go? We're Collier. We need to return home. The humans know this. They're not forcing us to go home. They're just waiting for the inevitable." Thelrose thought about altering course, leading the humans away from Dominion space. But where? Into neutral territory? That would start a war with other species. Into empty space? They would die when supplies ran out. There was nowhere to go except home. And home meant betraying the most important secret their civilization possessed. "We could self-destruct," she said quietly. Sector shook his head. "I've tried multiple times. The ship's self-destruct system isn't responding. I think the humans have infiltrated our computers. They've locked us out of our own ship's critical systems." The full horror of the situation settled on Thelrose like a weight. They were trapped in their own vessel, unable to stop it, unable to destroy it, unable to do anything except run on a path that would inevitably lead the humans to their homeworld. She went to Velcross and reported everything. The hierarch listened in silence, his face unreadable. When she finished, he was quiet for a long time. "How did we miss this?" he finally asked. "We studied the humans. We analyzed their technology. We observed their behavior. How did we not realize what they were capable of?" "They deceived us," Thelrose said. "Everything we observed was false. Everything we learned was what they wanted us to learn. We thought we were spying on them, but they were controlling what we saw from the beginning." Velcross touched the wall of the ship, as if seeking comfort from the metal. "The Dominion needs to know. They need to understand what's coming. Send a quantum message. Tell them everything. Tell them the humans are far more dangerous than we thought. Tell them we failed. Tell them we're bringing the enemy home." Thelrose sent a message, knowing it would take days to reach Collier Prime. She imagined the panic it would cause. The ruling caste would mobilize the entire defense fleet. They would activate every weapon platform, every hidden base, every defensive measure they possessed. They would prepare for war. The Whisper of Silence continued its journey home, and the 4 human ships followed like patient predators. Thelrose watched them on her sensors every day, those small dots that never wavered, never tired, never stopped. She wondered who commanded those ships. Were they celebrating? Did they understand the fear they were causing? Or were they simply doing their job, following orders, executing a mission? She wondered if humans felt fear the way Collier did. She wondered if anything scared them. When the whisper of silence finally jumped into the Kalair home system, Thelrose felt no relief, only dread. The system was filled with Dominion ships, thousands of them, all ready for battle. Orbital weapon platforms surrounded Kalair Prime like a deadly shell. It was the most powerful defense force the Dominion had ever assembled. "At least we can warn them properly now," Sector said, trying to find hope. "With the entire fleet ready, maybe we can—" He stopped talking as space behind them tore open. Not 4 ships this time. Hundreds of ships. Human vessels emerged from hyperspace in a perfect sphere around the planet, surrounding everything, covering every angle. They appeared simultaneously, as if they had practiced this maneuver 1,000 times. Thelrose stared at the display, counting ships, calculating odds. The humans had brought enough firepower to devastate their homeworld 3 times over. And somehow she knew they had even more ships she couldn't see, hidden with the same technology that had let them track the whisper of silence. "We didn't lead them here," she said softly. "They already knew where we were." Velcross stood in the emergency council chamber deep beneath the surface of Kalair Prime. Around him, the 5 members of the ruling caste sat in their elevated positions, their ancient faces showing emotions Velcross had never seen before. Pure, undiluted fear. "Explain this catastrophe," demanded High Matriarch Savannah, the eldest of the caste. "You were sent to observe the humans quietly. Instead, you brought an invasion fleet to our homeworld." "Matriarch, we were detected from the moment we entered human space," Velcross said, fighting to keep his voice steady. "Everything we observed was false information they wanted us to see. They have technology we didn't know existed. They tracked us through hyperspace using methods we cannot understand, and they have been mapping our entire territory while we were focused on them." "Impossible," said cast member Vorak. "Our stealth technology is the most advanced in the galaxy. No one can track our ships." "The humans can," Velcross replied, "and they have demonstrated it perfectly. They didn't just track one ship. Look at the orbital scans. They have forces positioned near 17 of our colony worlds. They know where everything is. Every base, every installation, every secret facility we thought was hidden. They know all of it." The council chamber's main display activated, showing the positions of human ships throughout Dominion space. Red markers appeared like a disease, spreading across their territory. Everywhere the Kalair had thought themselves safe, human forces waited. High Matriarch Savannah looked at the display for a long time. "How many ships do they have above us?" 317, reported the military coordinator. "Our defense fleet numbers 3,042 vessels. We have numerical superiority. We also have the planetary defense platforms and the stealth armada. If we engage, we can win." "Can we?" Savannah asked quietly. "If they knew everything else about us, do you think they don't know about our stealth armada? Do you think they haven't planned for that?" The chamber fell silent. The stealth armada was the Dominion's ultimate weapon, a fleet of advanced warships that could strike from perfect concealment. It was their guarantee that even if someone found Kalair Prime, they could never hold it. But if the humans could track ships through hyperspace, could detect stealth vessels in normal space, then the stealth armada was just another collection of targets. "They're hailing us," announced a communications officer. "The message is broadcasting on all frequencies, including civilian channels. Admiral Sarachin of the United Earth Space Service requests to speak with the ruling caste." "All frequencies?" Vorak looked horrified. "They're broadcasting to our entire population?" "Yes," cast member. "Every device on the planet is receiving the transmission. Every city, every home, every personal communicator. They bypassed our government networks entirely." Savannah closed her eyes briefly, understanding the implications. The humans weren't just demonstrating military superiority. They were showing they had infiltrated Kalair systems so completely that they could speak directly to the population, bypassing all government control. It was a message within a message. "We own your networks. We own your infrastructure. We own everything." "Put on screen," Savannah said. "Let's hear what they have to say." The holographic display shifted to show a human female in a dark blue uniform. She looked young by Collier's standards, but her eyes were old. She had the look of someone who had seen war and understood it completely. "I am Admiral Sarah Chun of the United Earth Space Service," the human said, her voice calm and clear as it was simultaneously translated into Collier language. "I am speaking not just to your government, but to every citizen of the Collier Dominion. What I am about to say is important for all of you to hear.